What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And man, we finally have Vegapunk arriving in One Piece Treasure Cruise. We did get the little tease, the little Twitter video uploaded yesterday, but now we have the official information about what Lilith actually does. Now, of course, there is another Sugo-Fest exclusive. The info would have just gone live on Twitter. I haven't read what the new Bonnie does yet, but we can get a bit of a gist as what she does, as there is a Twitter video on the Japanese version of the social media platform, and they give us a little bit more info about what these characters do, what everything looks like. But as for Lilith, this unit seems very good. Now, this is a very, very good way to start off 2024. I must admit, this character excites me a lot more than the New Year's characters. I mean, aside from Zoro and Sanji obviously very good, but this unit is really strong, and this is a character I can see being used for a long time just because of her unique mechanics. Now, I'm sure we're going to see more mechanics that this character does, introduced into other units throughout the year. But we're starting off strong, and it does introduce new mechanics that we saw from the data mine that came out from 13.4. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. So Lilith here, my face is covering a little bit here, but Lilith is an int cerebral shooter. So I like the class and type combinations, all make sense. Barrier Pierce is awesome. The final tap, by the way, looking pretty spicy, but let's go ahead and get into the abilities. So if you do opt to use her as a captain, her captain ability is going to give int cerebral and shooters -2 cooldown at the start of the quest. Activates the effect of deals 300 times character's attack in int type damage to all enemies at the end of the turn for 3 turns at the start of the quest. Okay, so just for the first 3 turns, you just do massive wave clearing. So I like that she has like massive cooldown plus the end of turn damage for the first 3 turns, because if she didn't have the cooldown, the end of turn damage would be kind of redundant and wouldn't really help you, because you still need to stall for specials sometimes. But with the cooldown reduction in her captain ability, it makes her way more usable. It makes her very good for treasure maps as well, so I'm kind of excited to use this character in treasure maps too. So it seems relatively okay so far. And then it says boost int cerebral and shooter characters attack by 5.5 with a matching slot, 5.25 otherwise, boost their health by 1.35, and then if the crew uses a special to boost attack, you add 0.25 to the boost. Now remember, it says if they use a special to boost attack. So I believe if you use like a super type to boost your attack, supports, etc., switch effects, this effect does not affect that, but it does directly affect like actual specials. So if you launch a special, it does an attack boost. Hypothetically, it's like a 2.5 attack boost, and now becomes 2.75 naturally, and like this stacks with everything. So you can still have another way to buff it. Like if you use like a Zoro Sanji special to buff attack boosts, that stacks with this. So this has good potential for good damage, wave clearing, and speed farming. So I think it's all really, really good for like the end game type of players. This seems really, really fun so far. Now her special ability, 14 turn cooldown. This is with expansion, by the way, so that's a little harsh. The -2 cooldown might not actually be enough for her. We'll have to wait and see. But her special says that if the captain is cerebral class and the crew has an attack boost when you launch her special, reduces the crew's attack boost effect by 1.0. Meaning if it's a 2.5 attack boost, it becomes a 1.5 attack boost, okay? But changes the attack boost to become a stackable attack boost. So this is that new mechanic that we're talking about. So if you have a 2.5 attack boost, you have a cerebral captain, you launch her special, the 2.5 attack boost becomes 1.5, but it now changes to become a stackable attack boost, which means you can activate like another attack boost during that turn. So that's pretty wicked. So there's a big drawback. It's not like what we thought it was going to be, where you could just stack 2 like 2.5 or 3 times attack buffs. There is a bit of a drawback, that attack buff is reduced by a 1.0, but still, even if you have like a 3 times attack boost, reducing it to 2 times, but then you can use another attack boost, like this is still hella good, right? It does say here though that the reduction of the effect cannot go below 1.0, so if you've got like a 1.75 boost, it just goes down to 1, it doesn't go to like minus 0.75. After being changed, the effect will not be treated as an attack boost and can no longer change the effect and the turn duration. So, it means that if you have a special that says extend the duration of attack boosts, it won't affect this new stackable one. So there is drawbacks to this, but still on your burst turns, this is where it's going to be kind of key. But it's still very, very good. Now it says stackable with other attack boosting effects. So that's the whole reason for this. You have multiple attack buffs. Furthermore, it does that, so stackable attack is great. And then reduces crew's attack down and despair by 6, so good utility. Deals 300 times attack and int damage to all enemies at the end of the turn for 3 turns, so getting around resilience. You know, the same effect in a captain. Use it, you get the effect to remove end of turn damage, or to do end of turn damage to get around resilience. And then it says, if the crew has an orb boost when you launch the special, you further boost the effect of the orb boost by 0.5. But then if you don't have an orb boost, you still get an int cerebral shooter 2.75 orb boost for 2 turns. So this is great. Like, if you have an attack boost, you get a stackable one, and then you get an orb boost, you get utility, end of turn damage. It all seems really good. I'm a big fan of this so far. Like, this is setting this up to be a pretty powerful Sugo-Fest exclusive character. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Crewmate ability. It makes cerebral and shooter characters int slots matching. Top row characters get 150 base attack. Okay. And then we move on to her support effect. The support attaches to any int that is also cerebral, and that is a typo right there. Once per quest, if the supported character uses a special, it changes the supported character slot into an int slot, reduces attack down by 1, and boosts int and cerebral orbs by 1.75 for 1 turn. What a crazy support. You know, orb change, attack down removal, orb boost. Like, again, just super good. And then the final tap, dude. The final tap. You have to be at the final battle, and your HP has to be 80% or above. So, a bit of a drawback. You know, having to be 80% or above. Not always going to happen. But the effect changes the character slot into int, and adds 1 times the damage dealt by normal attacks of other cerebral characters this turn on top of final damage. If this sounds confusing, to basically dumb it down, this is the same kind of final tap as Luffy crew, K-Dad, those type of units, right? This is incredibly strong. We've seen this before. It's one of the best final tap structures you can have, but it obviously only works for cerebral units. So, you know, obviously this is the final tap, which is the 6th tap of the chain. For the first 5 taps of your attack, whichever damage comes from cerebral units, you add it into a pool, and then you deal that damage as well on top of Lilith's last tap damage. So, you know, let's say you deal 20 million damage with your 5 cerebral units first. You final tap with Lilith. Lilith might do 5 million by herself, but your previous 5 cerebral units that did 20 million damage, it adds 1 times that damage back onto Lilith, which is another 20 million damage. So this has, you know, the potential to be really good. It basically doubles the amount of damage that your crew does with your cerebral units. It's a very good final tap, okay? The last thing we haven't talked about in her normal kit is her super class. So the super class, you need to have 6 cerebral characters on the crew, or 6 int characters on the crew. So I like that there's like a dual condition. You can run mono cerebral or mono int to get it to work. And the special changes all slots including block into int, already very good. Boosts int type cerebral characters attack by 2.75 for 2 turns. But if they're just int or just cerebral, they still get 2.5 for 2 turns. And then cerebral become super cerebral. Now, I have kind of found one issue that I have with this unit so far. And that is, if you are running mono cerebral and you use this super class, she doesn't actually have a way to treat int slots as beneficial in her captain effect or her special. Her crewmate ability does it. So if you use her, I mean, that's just kind of weird. I don't know why she doesn't have a way to make int slots matching. I'm sure, I mean, like, there's plenty of characters that can do that, but I just think it's kind of weird. I feel like, you know, she should kind of do that. This character has already really good synergies, but you can already see that they want this character to be used alongside the other Vegapunk related units that they are inevitably going to release in the near future. So I'm excited because this has a really good beginnings of a great team. You've got your good final tap character, great captain, great double stacking special. It seems pretty good so far. I'm digging this quite a lot. Now, we do have her PvP abilities as well. Now, this is where the character is a bit of a downfall because her PvP abilities don't seem very good. She is classified as a debuffer. Her special ability, it's only a 26 CT, which is very good, but the effect itself targets one enemy with high HP for damage over time level 3, attack down level 7, speed down level 7, and 100% chance of half stats. Like, that would have been an okay special if it didn't only target one enemy. If this targeted a large range, this may have potential if it was like a large, even horizontal range. Large horizontal range would have been good, or if it targeted like 3 characters, potentially, would have been very good, but only targeting 1 with high HP, it's a bit of a bummer. I will say that the Rumble ability is actually good though. Int get 6 HP, 6 speed, 5 defense, and Cerebral get level 2 CT speed up. And I'm sure that the rest of the Vegapunk units that they release in the future, they're probably going to be Int and Cerebral. So this would have synergy with those types of characters. But at the moment, not a big fan of her Rumble kit. She does have GP as well. 55,000 damage you have to take, and then it targets all enemies for the attack down, level 8, damage over time level 2. Cerebral shooters get attack buff, speed buff, and then you get a 20% CT reduction. Having to tank 55,000 damage for a special like that is just really bad. And then the GP ability gives buffs to Int, Cerebral Shooter. Like, she's not good in Rumble at all. So that we can forget about that. We can forgive that because her normal kit is unique, and we'll definitely see play in the future. So over here on Twitter, they give us a bit of information about, my face cam is actually covering it here. I'm going to move myself over here. But there's a bit of a video here that shows like what these characters do. So the new Bonnie here, so we'll talk about her in the other video, but it removes bind and does like conditional boost stuff. But you'll actually see how Lilith works and what the icons look like when you use her special ability. So when Lilith uses her super type, you get the full board of Int through block slots, and then you get the attack buff. Remember, this is an attack buff that gives big buffs to Int Cerebral and smaller buffs to Mono Int, Mono Cerebral. And then you go ahead and use her special ability, which says that if you have a Cerebral Captain and you have an attack buff, you convert your attack buff to a stackable one. So this would be a 2.75 buff. It goes down to 1.75, but it is stackable. So there you see that it now changes into this little attack buff icon with a green star or a yellow star next to it. And then using the other superclass of Lilith will give you the attack buff once again. So now you have a 1.75 times stackable attack buff, and you now have the brand new 2.75 times attack buff. So that's pretty cool. Using the special ability, of course, buffs the orb boost that you already had, so that becomes like a huge orb boost, and then the rest of the specials do that. So that's just showing how the icons work for Lilith. If you have an attack buff, use her special, minus the multiplier, double stack, all works pretty well and good. I'm a big fan of this, but let me know your thoughts and opinions, guys, down below. What do you guys think about Lilith? Do you think this is a really powerful Sugo-Fest exclusive? Because at first, you know, face value, I think this unit is really good, and I'm definitely more excited for a character such as this, you know, compared to what we had for the New Year's celebration, where we had these repeat characters with, you know, pretty bland mechanics. This is bringing something new into the game, and I think that this is going to be a really fun character to use, and I'm definitely excited to potentially pull this unit. We'll have to wait and see, though. Hopefully we get lucky. But that's going to wrap it up for me, though. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.